So with that, I'm going to introduce the champion frontier of AI, Dr. James Ong himself, to come on stage. Dr. James Ong is the founder and managing director of Artificial Intelligence International Institute, AIII, and he's also an entrepreneur and community builder. He's incubated, invested, and mentored various technology startups, and he's actively involved in the AI and tech ecosystem in China and ASEAN. He has more than 30 years of experience in the technology and strategy advisory services, and he's currently the founder and CEO of Origami that provides strategy, technology, and investment advisory services for venturing towards autonomous enterprise. With that, let's put our hands together and welcome Dr. James Ong.
Hello. Yeah, it's on. Thank you, Grace Lin. Hi, everybody. This is James Ong. I'm going to start the next panel soon. But first of all, many of you wondering why you are here, actually. I've been working on the AI ecosystem for many years, and one of the purposes is to get everybody together to discuss to share technology and the most critical issue. Now, before I start, I want to quickly recognize some of the sponsors for this AI segment. First of all, we have the World AI Conference, which I'll explain, the largest AI conference in the world. This is the first time we are doing an event in Singapore. It's based in Shanghai. Of course, Switch, you're based in Singapore. That is the largest Singapore technology event in Singapore. We have Donghao Lansen, which is a large Chinese event company, very big. They are part of the partner to want to push for WIC globally. Then, of course, AIII, the think tanks that I started and advocate sustainable AI for humanity. All the content we talk about, AI, Web3 are all related to that, basically. And some of you are here. And last but not least, there's an alliance called the Tech for SDG, for the United Nations Sustainable Development Goal. There's an alliance of different companies want to advocate Alliance for Asia, where many of the work, like what Wendy has done, should be advocated to the whole market, basically. So the World AI Conference, first time doing in Singapore, is the largest AI conference in the world. Of course, the big event there was in 2019. Mr. Elon Musk and Jack Ma was having this debate. That is the beginning of all the issues that we've been talking about today. They talked about it in 2019. And that is part of the purpose why the think tank was set up to do that as well. And there are many prominent speakers from Nobel Prize winner and Turing Award winner. And this will happen in July in Shanghai this year as well. Then, of course, Switch, no need introduction. There's the largest event organized by the Enterprise Singapore. We have been working together with Enterprise Singapore on this event to promote AI advocacy and awareness. Of course, we invited many speakers, including NVIDIA, Microsoft, as well as other startups to come. Next time, I'd like to invite Wendy as well to participate in it as well. Then, of course, the other sponsor are the Donghao Lansen, one of the largest Chinese companies who have big access to the China market in terms of event, HR services, and they are the one who organized the World AI Conference. Feel free to talk to me if you want to work with them. Of course, the think tank, Sustainable AI for Humanity, the think tank has been around for 7 years. We have a booth out there thanks to Renee and the Hash Innovation. So this think tank advocates AI for good. So many of you probably have used ChatGPT, right? If you have not, please raise your hand. I know you won't raise, right? So this is an area we'll be working on to advocate the right use of AI, and I think Brian talked about it a little bit just now. Then, of course, the Alliance, Tech for SDG Alliance. So this is an alliance of different companies in Asia who want to advocate our technology creation, including AI, Web3, blockchain, metaverse as well, to move towards the United 17 SDG goal, Sustainable Development Goal. So, World AI Conference will be in July. Those of you who are the best AI company, you need to be there. If you want to be the best, you have to be there. So come talk to us about that. Then, of course, the AI World Summit. In this year, Switch is going to spin off AI World Summit. This is going to be the first global AI-focused event organized by the Singapore government, working with the industry like us to create a new ecosystem. If we do it right, all the best thinkers of the world will come to Singapore to talk about AI, including especially on AI governance and governable AI and responsible AI. So we welcome all the big brands, NVIDIA, Microsoft, Wonder Tech to come join us and talk about some of the application and AI for good. Done. As such, I'd like to invite the panel speakers. Wendy, please.
Can I please invite the panel
Brian,
speakers? Yes.
Evelina, and Egg Beng.
So you guys are familiar with our panel speakers, with the exception of Evelina Lai, who is the co-founder of Untamed. So Evelina leads the marketing efforts for the Meta Content Partnerships team across Asia Pacific. Her team works with the largest creator, media and news partners across Instagram, Facebook, and to ensure Meta's top content producers are engaging with their communities and reaching their audiences around the world on Meta's platform every day. And when your segment is a segment between the audience and food, I think let's all sit up a little bit, rub our shoulders, and give our distinguished panel speakers a round of applause to start their panel.
You guys can hear me well, right? There are two AI panels being curated. This one is about the frontier in artificial intelligence. Obviously, we already listened from the best from Wendy, from Brian, and of course from Egg Beng, right? So they have talked about the technology, how they are being used. Now we have Evelina, who also from Meta, also another well-known AI company. also have her own founder advocacy of UTEM, 3D, right? So we have invited them to come to provide a diversified point of view. Now, as you all know, AI has been called to influence, have impact on all our life. So I hope some of you will come up with some questions. I'm going to cut short my question because the time is short. Let you all ask the question. Because you should be dying to ask this question because it's going to affect your kids, your own education, your career, your jobs, your business, and your own existence. Before that, I'd like to trigger to a poll survey. Daryl, please scan. This first poll survey is actually, please use your phone to scan it because I want to hear from you what it is. The question for this poll is, what are the biggest impact do you think generative AI like ChatGPT or Midjourney will have on our society? Feel free to fill in the questions and answer. We want to be interactive. And then from those questions, we'll curate our question dynamically, right, as we go along. Because I really don't know what your answer is. And shall we show the answer, Daryl? Oh. Wow, this is surprising. How we educate our kids, okay, it's changing right now. So you can see how the issue right now, unlike other technology in the history of human being, right? Education now is 56%. This is what you guys care about. Then we have existential threat. I was surprised this one is so high, actually. Then our businesses, your job and career, our politics, are negligible. So all of you think there's something here, right? So maybe before I answer the question, keep this on if you want to. Now, maybe I start with Evelina. You are new because you have not spoken it. Warm you up a little bit, right? Yeah. Maybe you can share a little bit what is your perspective on how generative AI is going to have impact on our society. Your own perspective. Yeah.
Hello, everyone. It's great to be here and to be invited on this panel. James, it's a big question. What do I think will be, how transformative it will be? I think the reason why we're all in this room is because I think we all are here because we believe it's going to be incredibly transformative. I don't think there is going to be one area of our lives, both professional or personal, that we won't be using AI tools as a way to enhance our everyday. So I think it's going to be transformational. And in the words of Bill Gates, who posted a blog a couple of weeks ago, he said that for him, this is a huge pivotal moment in technology. I think it was the second biggest pivotal moment. And that all businesses will reorientate themselves around AI. And that businesses will essentially distinguish themselves through the use of AI. So that's where I land. I think it's going to be incredibly transformational for all of us.
Are you all in already into AI? In your transformation?
I've been experimenting. So unlike some of the panelists here, I'm not a technologist. I'm a marketer. I've been in technology for a long time. I obviously work at a large technology company. But my skill sets are marketing. And from a marketing perspective, it's great. Obviously, it's not perfect. However, am I using it to brainstorm content ideas? Am I using it to brainstorm headlines? Absolutely. And it gives me enough. It gets me 70% of the way there. And then I can go in and modify that as I need. So, yeah.
Okay, wonderful. Before I get to Wendy, I want to acknowledge one thing. You can see this panel, we have 2 ladies and 2 guys. Thanks to Renee for always curating with diversity to have different balance in our point of view. So before I get to the guy, let Wendy answer. You have been involved in health, mental health, right?
Yeah.
Any perspective on this?
Yes, I feel very excited personally too. I also agree. I don't think it's any single aspect in our life won't be transformed. However, with the LLM, the cost is going down, and also we very much look forward to the next ChatGPT 5.0 multi-model integrated with voice. I do think the 2 most exciting part is education and healthcare.
Education and healthcare. Keep that in mind, okay?
Which we don't have enough good teachers, we don't have enough good doctors, and we want our kids to learn in a happier way, more effective way. We have a lot of people to heal. And I do think this 2 fundamental vertical creates a lot of opportunities.
Very good. Obviously, you pick these 2. There's a need. It's also very human, basic, right? Basically, our education and healthcare. Yeah.
Yes, because I do think with personalized and high quality content, this will empower everyone to actually to have more equal opportunity to receive good education and good healthcare. And
Sure.
I do think that's the most fundamental transformation we need like right now.
Okay, wonderful. Okay, I'm going to go to Egg Bang, not Brian yet, because I'm going to let Brian think a little bit harder because he's from Microsoft. So, Egg Bang, you are NVIDIA, right? You are the semiconductor, the infrastructure behind. Most people may not know how important is NVIDIA in this whole AI revolution. Actually, one of the most important company out there. So how do you get people, I mean, from your guys' perspective, obviously you are planning ahead, right? How are you going to impact everything else, right? What is your perspective on this, the impact?
I think the impact is going to be huge. I don't think anyone expected me to say anything else other than this. Just to give a bit of perspective, if we think about some data points, when ChatGPT launched, there were data points that came out to say that just 2 months after it hit its 100 million active user. And compare that and contrast that to TikTok that took 9.5 months, I think, and then or 9 months, and then Instagram, which took yet another 2.5 years. And everybody keeps saying that, this is the iPhone moment for ChatGPT, is the iPhone moment, right, for AI. But I did a bit of digging, and I think iPhones actually took like 3.5 years to sell its 100 million units. So I think maybe 1 year from now, we might be saying things like this is the ChatGPT moment, rather than it is the iPhone moment. That synonym may start to change. So what impact do I think that it will give us, right? Just to borrow that, what I thought was a very nice term from Microsoft's product portfolio, right? Copilot. I think that speaks a lot about what I think the impact is going to be. Are we going to be replaced? I personally do not think so. But we will have a very capable co-pilot in our lives. A personal AI-enabled assistant across many different functionalities that we could never dream of before, right? So perhaps back then when we looked at autocorrect, when Microsoft Word first came up with that functionality, I think we might be very amazed right now. It's no longer about autocorrect. We are now talking about let's auto-generate something. And that something could be your code, it could be your Word document, it could be your proposal, it could be your analysis of some business articles, so on and so forth. So I think, again, impact is going to be huge, but think of it as a co-pilot.
Okay, interesting. That kind of naturally leads to Brian, right? You are the co-pilot.
Co-pilot.
How many people know what is co-pilot? Or do not know what is co-pilot? You want to explain quickly what is co-pilot? And the reason I asked you the last one is because I want to say, you mentioned the iPhone moment, you mentioned the ChatGPT moment, right? I think to me the ChatGPT moment is what remind me of the Lotus 123 Excel spreadsheet moment. First time the spreadsheet came about, everybody started to use spreadsheet. It doesn't exist before that, right? So, Brian?
So,
what is Copilot? Yeah.
Okay, so what's Copilot? Well, I'm a father of two, so my wife is my Copilot. That's the way I think about it.
Wow.
Right, so to actually make sure that the family is happy, the kids is well educated and stuff like that, we are the co-pilot for each other. So I think that's how I view co-pilot. So the same thing when I was when I first saw OpenAI ChatGPT, I actually had thanks to Microsoft, right, I was privileged to actually see this technology back in August, right, a few months before it released. But the ability to understand the context and stuff like that, I don't think it will replace our job, right? It makes our job a lot more efficient and productive. That's the way I see it, right? So imagine you are a blogger, you want to write a blog. What's the most difficult step? Step one, right? Start writing something, right? So today you want to write something, you have a template, you say what's the title you want to write about. ChatGPT can give you a quick idea of what to write. Naturally, it's not the perfect blog, not your style and stuff like that, but it overcomes the inertia, right? So same as our education, you probably heard of people like using ChatGPT for learning. I too myself, I learned, not really ChatGPT, but using the GitHub Copilot to learn about things like Golang, so to learn more about the new recent, the Next.js and stuff like that. So I'm a developer, right? So I'm also learning, but the way we use it, the way we do our typical things will change forever, right? With ChatGPT and OpenAI on this. Yeah.
So Microsoft all in?
Yeah, we have been using this for some time already. So.
Okay, wonderful. Okay, I'm going to switch to the next segment of the question. Obviously, AI is very big. There's a different implication, right? Maybe I start with Wendy first, right? The question is more like, okay, it's great. It's going to have big impact. What do I do next, right, in terms of the strategies? There's one tips, nothing more. Just one solid tips so that our audience walk out of this room, feel that I've learned something that I did not thought about. Don't give the obvious thing. Give something that is totally different. Yeah. Maybe, or Wendy, you want to start? Or you?
Sure. I think this transformation is the AI is really helping us in many aspects, from work to life. Before, we thought that AI can only do things in the optimization part. For example, help things do faster, smarter, cheaper. But right now, AI is being very creative. So I think this transformation is forcing us to think about the more fundamental question is, I think all the how and what will be taken care by AI. And as human, I think it's our time to really focus on why. It's the fundamental, difficult question. And why we're doing what we do and how we define ourselves as an individual, as a father, as a business leader. And yeah, I think that would be my tip to remind everyone. I think this is the moment. Yeah.
I think it's a very good tips. I think Wendy say, spend more time asking why, right? Not how to do it. Because ChatGPT may give you the answer. So spend more time thinking about why, why you live your life, why do you go to school, what do you want to learn, right? I think that's a very good tips. Evelina?
I really like that, and I agree. Right now, you cannot outsource through an AI model critical thinking. That's our value as human beings. We can apply critical thinking to anything. So that would be, if we want to AI-proof our jobs or AI-proof our lives in any way, we're going to have to get stronger at building this muscle of critical thinking. And I also think it's very easy to rely on different language models, whether it's ChatGPT or Jasper, etc., on writing something for you. It does a really good job of it. However, again, coming back to our skills as human beings, storytelling. And I think if you can apply critical thinking and storytelling, that is something right now that AI cannot do well. And we can absolutely, if it's AI versus human argument, we can absolutely win that. So I would spend your time on developing that critical thinking muscle and getting really good at storytelling, because soon everyone's going to be able to generate content, right? The market's going to be saturated. But what's going to distinguish someone is someone who is able to apply critical thinking and storytelling to tell whatever they need to tell in a better way.
Wow, excellent. Critical thinking, storytelling, these are the keywords, right? Well, before I get to the two guys who have very strong technical background, right, with a strong technical team, you should start thinking about what's the next question to ask the panel, right? Exercise some critical thinking. I hope to hear some interesting questions from you in the next few minutes, right? So, Brian first, how's that? Change the order.
Finally, yeah. So,
What is the tips?
so the way I think about ChatGPT and OpenAI is a tool, right? So you don't judge a chef by how sharp the knife is, right? So, but all great chefs appreciate sharp knives, right? So understand the tools, sharpen yourself, equip yourself with what these capabilities are. I think that's very, very important, yeah, as a business owner.
Okay, tools, huh? Okay, wonderful. Ekbeng?
Okay, I kind of agree with all my fellow panelists. I'm going to say that one tip would be to be comfortable with the existence of AI. I think, and this has been true for generations of mankind, right? Whatever we are not aware of, whatever that we are not knowledgeable or informed about, there has always been a tendency to worry about it. So let's get comfortable with it. It is a tool, like Brian has mentioned, and like my fellow panelists have mentioned, right? Be confident in ourselves that we exist. We are capable of existing on a higher cognitive level, which is what helps us to drive AI as a tool and not the other way around.
Okay, be comfortable. I do agree with Ekbeng. You want to explore new things that you do not know, because they become very cost effective now. And this is why I find it very helpful, right? Okay, before we get to the next set questions, we have another poll, Daryl. By the way, before we forget the human existence, if you think human existence is a threat, come to the next panel, where we have another 4 speakers who can share their perspective. Oh. Okay, this is another poll. Please help to scan and give us some insight. And this question is, which industry sector do you think will face the biggest transformation caused by generative AI? I'm just curious, what industry are being affected? Obviously, somebody think education is one of them. But let's see, maybe it's the military, right? You never thought the money was there also, right? Healthcare is something that we care about, right? We can show the answer. Can we show? Wow. How many people okay, the answer is starting to come back. Education is still ranking number 1. Healthcare is chasing. Now education and healthcare. Wendy, you are really sweet spot, huh? You really know what you're thinking, huh? Manufacturing. Okay, the money guys are not talking much, huh? The education. Okay, good. Wow, okay, wonderful, we know that. So again, speed answer. Wendy, you already given the answer, right? Still education. And about Brian, which industry?
Personally, I think it's education.
Education.
Yeah, I have 2 boys.
Oh.
So there's 1 and 3. But the way I teach them is also like trying to teach them the understanding about how you use the tools. Right? I keep going back to the tools analogy, right? So if you want to take out some things apart, there's a screw. What do you use the screw to take out the screw? Right? It's the screwdriver. Right? So trying to educate them the proper way, because in future a lot of things will be different in terms of education.
Like Wendy said, ask your children to ask why, critical thinking by Evelina, right? I think these are very good tips. So Evelina, what do you think? Which industry will be number 1 affected?
I mean, every industry, in my opinion, is going to be, be affected by AI or being able to use AI tools to optimize.
Okay.
However, I agree with Wendy that the industry that I think has the biggest impact, which is different to transformation, is healthcare. I think healthcare could be revolutionized with the use of AI.
Okay, those who are career in healthcare, this is a good opportunity, right? Ekbeng?
Okay, I'm going to be a bit more philosophical here and start by wondering out loud. How many of us, when we look at the word transformation, we are thinking actually disruption?
How many?
So,
Yeah.
right.
Raise hand.
Right. Thanks for the honesty, right? Because I kind of suspected that because being a person who is very interested in things like foundation models, NLP, that there is what we call the word sense. You see one word and you've got different people thinking different meanings to it. So, but whatever we are thinking about, transformation, disruption, so I'm going to try and answer James' question, which industry? And to that, I think that I probably agree with education, simply because I think where AI has the largest exposure to change the way we work, to change the way we are being trained, which is the next generation of people who is going to produce your healthcare solutions, your retail and consumer. Now, I think that is going to be where AI will make the biggest transformation. Because when minds are transformed, everything else from there, your engineers, your future doctors, your future lawyers, etc., will transform their respective industry.
Okay, good. I want to share a point.
Can
on
I
this.
just add to that
Go
as
ahead.
well? Right now, in terms of where the tools are with AI, I actually think legal.
Legal.
I mean, if you right now, if you have a legal office, and I actually saw it, if you go onto LinkedIn, there is literally a ChatGPT intern that a family legal office is looking for. It's available. If you know anyone that's interested, I actually think it's a great gig. But legal, because if you can automate some of that early contract writing and get you again 70% of the way there, that paralegal person, that mid or early junior lawyer, do you need them?
Yep, job loss. Okay, I just want to offer a perspective. I think so far we have been talking the disruption or the transformation in terms of short term, right? I personally felt that if you listen to the recent speech by Geoffrey Hinton, the godfather of deep learning, I actually agree with him. Potentially our biological humanity may not need to exist anymore if you base on the theoretical projection. I do want to bring the awareness to all of you. I personally think it's very possible. We may not need to have biological next generation anymore because everything will be digital. Exactly what? We probably have another session to talk about it. Maybe in the next panel, we will actually cover a little bit of that, depending on our speaker, right? Yeah. Okay, wonderful. Before I get to the next question, I want to see how many people have questions. If you want a question, one, because I want to give priority to you. How about, you don't mind, I would like to start with a question from this gentleman. I can see that he is eager to ask something, right? You'll be very curious what the question is, right? I have no idea. So please share about your name and where you're from. Yeah.
Hello, testing. Thank you. My name's Mark. I'm from Texas, US.
All right.
Just a question about a weakness I have found in some of the new models is mathematics. We know math is kind of fundamental to a lot of things. So maybe for Dr. Ng, why are the models bad at math? And is that a potential weakness for the evolution of the technology?
Good questions.
Great question. I may have a PhD, but I don't have the answers to every question. But let me try. I think when we think about why AI models are bad at math or something else, we may be thinking about the paradigm of AI where we call it narrow AI. And that paradigm of AI still exists popularly because it is a practical paradigm for people to think about training AI for a particular purpose. Foundation model is still very much in its early days, with its roots stemming from the likes of transformers, which then showed great potential from a language modeling perspective, which basically learned to model data in a sequential manner in a self-supervised fashion. Now, what am I trying to say? I think there may be additional structure or techniques that need to be added on to existing AI models in order for it to learn something beyond what it is capable of today. I think that is in itself is not such a fanatical or extreme idea, because that's kind of common to what we do to our machineries. We build an engine, and then subsequently, when we need to adapt that engine, that very same engine to fit into a lower power vehicle versus a supercar, we make tweaks to it, specific tweaks. And I think we may need to have such improvements to those AI models before it can perform well in a highly specialized domain. But on that note, I would say that all is not lost, because there are things like data sets called the Math QA, and we do see a lot of progress in that data set and its performance resulting from AI models, because it's able to kind of walk through the logic and solve fairly complex math questions by itself. So you got to have the right data, and you got to have the right model and the technique applied to solve that problem.
Do you want to answer part of these questions? Any of you?
So I think it's a large language model, right? It highly depends on, like what Dr. Eng Peng was saying, depend on the data set, right? So it's not that GPT learns to calculate, right? 2 + 2 = 4. GPT actually learns the pattern by looking at the data set. Hey, 2 + 2, the likelihood of seeing 4 in the data set is high. Then that's why that's how it got the result from there. So, but we will definitely see more and more advancement in that area. GPT-4 itself, first time passed calculus exam as well. So it's able to problem solve and do a lot of things. Yeah.
Well, I just want to, for this question, I think it's a very good question, maybe for the rest of the audience. This is called the hallucination problem of large language model, because it doesn't know what is the truth or not the truth, because it's learning statistically from lots of data. There are actually approach that can be used to solve that problem. We'll take it offline in another time, right? But we also imply that when you apply for education and healthcare, that can be problematic as well, because you can't differentiate what is true or not true. Your kids will be learning from the wrong thing as well, right? Basically, yeah. Okay, wonderful. Any other question? I'm just surprised this team is not asking tough questions. Anybody? Feel free.
That question was pretty tough.
That is a tough question, though. Maybe he's from Texas. There's a reason it's a tough question. Yeah. Okay. How much time do we have? 3 more minutes. Okay. Then maybe we can switch the question. Okay, you have given tips to all our audience. They must ask why, critical thinking, think of it like a tool, right? Be comfortable with it. This might take away from the 4 audience. I think it's very simple, but actually very helpful in your mindset, right? Now moving forward, okay? Obviously, we don't talk about existential threat because we leave it for the next panel at 2 o'clock, right? So I think let's talk about the future, right? Again, perspective, given we have only 3 minutes, right? Wendy, where the future is? Where do you...
I will share 2 viewpoints. I think where the future is. First, I think it's critical for all of us, no matter we're entrepreneur, leaders, tech genius. It's important to help not ourselves, but people around us to really be comfortable with AI. I don't think we have a choice. We need to work well with AI. I think one inspiring story happening in education is you see a lot of news earlier this year, all the teachers are freaking out because US are banning ChatGPT in classroom. But right now we're seeing teachers are using ChatGPT and to bring more joy and to activate more potential in learning itself. And I think that's a great case. It's important we work with AI and to touch the more fundamental value of human being.
Okay, good. I want to add one point about Wendy. When she presented just now, she talked about the voice-based AI. I thought it's a very excellent approach to deal with depression, because human doesn't, if you through survey, they don't tell you the truth. But you can't lie through your voice. You are who you are. I think that is a very subtle difference, even though you use different model, but actually it solves a problem because dealing with our human weakness, because you don't want to tell the truth. Okay, I think that is the future of AI with different combination of models.
Exactly, and I think we start thinking that way because we look at the crisis as opportunity. And it's like the mindset. And if we can look at all challenge and crisis opportunity, for example, the privacy issue, the security issue, and I think we can create a very, very different future together.
Yep, I think the governance issue need to be solved so that you can build a better system, right? Yeah. I want to go to Evelina first before I get to the two guys, right? What do you think of the future?
As humanity, I think we've been predicting our own end for millennia, right? And the argument that AI are all going to take our jobs is one that's very prevalent in the headlines, right? And Goldman Sachs again released reports saying that 2/3 of jobs are prone to being at a threat from AI automation. However, what's not spoken about is usually when there is a new technology, there is a huge emergence of new opportunities and jobs at the same time. Jobs that we can't see right now in 2023, but will absolutely be created over the next year, 5 years, 10 years, etc. And so what I would advocate right now is that while we, again, headlines and media really do like to talk about existential threats, about, we're all here trying to read the tea leaves on what AI will do for our future and humanity. However, right now, what we can do is just get curious and use the tools.
Okay.
And that's what I would advocate. Get curious, use the tools, have fun, experiment, and you'll learn very, very quickly just doing that.
Okay, go and try out and be open-minded, right? Ek Beng? Dr. Ng?
I think, I believe Andrew Ng once said this, Professor Andrew Ng, AI is the new electricity. So what's the future? I bet back then when electricity was invented and demonstrated, perhaps the light bulb, people's imagination, people's concerns were not constrained to just seeing the light bulb light up. And likewise, every one of you in this room has your own take, your own concerns. And I think, like a Chinese saying, 危中有机. It means, whatever concerns we have, take that concern and turn it into a positive direction on how you might harness AI, the new electricity. So if you're concerned about security, develop security future applications around it. If you're concerned about education, if you're concerned about healthcare, so on and so forth, take AI and see what you could do with it. Let some positivity be birthed from our concerns, and let us be the ones to kind of champion or work with others to lead the development in those areas that we are concerned about.
Wonderful. Basically, accept it, embrace it for positive, but deal with the concern, right, as you go along. So Brian, you have the last question. You're representing Microsoft, no, to tell the world. So, love to hear from you.
So, wow, pressure. Right. So, actually, today we do see a lot of generative AI startups, right? So every few days we see one startup that's doing a particular, interesting idea and products. But I think the next step, I'm not sure whether the future is like 10 years, 20 years, but the next step is really about security AI, right? The ability to understand that the person calling you is coming from an AI. The video you watch is generated by AI. So this is something that I think Microsoft is, of course, Microsoft is heavily invested in security as well. But the main thing about building responsible AI, right, is to have all these breaks, right? Have all these things in place before the AI get more adoption and accelerated.
So watch out for the bad agent using it against
Yes.
you for your bank account and your safety for your children. At the same time, hopefully cultivate responsible AI systems that are good, right? Wow, wonderful. As such, I think we run out of time. I just want to say one thing. I think future, I think you need to think of AI as you need to develop a symbiotic relationship with AI, almost like a companion. If you're a husband, think of it as your future companion and vice versa, right? Because technology like AI is evolving very quickly and it's very dynamic. Every second, ChatGPT is learning something new. It's becoming a new entity as we go along. And it's quite scary. Never in the history of humankind with that kind of technology. So I think you need to rethink your relationship with AI because it's not like a tool anymore, 100%. It's actually an evolving thing, right? As such, we run out of time. Really appreciate all our four excellent speakers who have given you specific tips to walk away from. If you forget, you cannot blame them because you need to memorize it. I'm going to say it one more time, right? Make sure you ask why. Make sure you have critical thinking. Learn to do storytelling with it, right? Think of it as a tool, but then deal with the thing. And also with Eric Beng, be comfortable with it, accept it, embrace it, and then watch out and confront, right? Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, distinguished panel speakers, for your valuable contributions to artificial intelligence.